TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Good afternoon. This is TNCRadio.LIVE, and this is the Truckers Network Radio Show with your host, Shelley Johnson.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNCRadio.LIVE, where we offer the news, sports, weather, traffic, and entertainment that truckers want to hear. Truck shows where truckers and collectors can show off their rigs are a whole lot of fun, and drivers look forward to these in the summertime. Unfortunately, a lot of these types of events were canceled last year due to the pandemic. The Iowa 80 Truck Stop is holding the Walcott Truckers Jamboree live and in person this year in July. It's going to be a whole lot of fun for drivers and their families. There are going to be lots of trucks and live music. There's even going to be a super truck beauty contest. With us today is Heather Debaillie with Iowa 80. Welcome, Heather. I appreciate you being on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Shelley.
I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what's going to be going on at the Walcott Truckers Jamboree.
Oh, sure. Well, it's just one big parking lot party, we like to say. And, the goal is to celebrate America's truckers. And boy, are we ready for a celebration this year after being virtual last year. So we're going to bring back all of our fun stuff that we've done in previous years. We're going to have the Super Truck Beauty Contest, an antique truck display, our Iowa Pork Chop Cookout. We're going to have over 100 exhibits, and we're going to have a Trucker Olympics where drivers can compete for prizes. We're going to have live music all 3 days, fireworks on Thursday night and Friday night, and just a whole lot of fun, and be so happy to be all back together again.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the best way to see these events is live and in person. You said you did it virtually last year. What was that like to have to do it virtually?
Well, honestly, I don't ever want to have to do that again because it was not near as much fun as having everybody here. We made the best of it, and we did an online truck show. So we had drivers submit photos, and then we let the public vote. So I think that was different, but we were still involving people.
Sure.
And then we also had a pet contest online. So drivers could send in photos in different categories for their pet, like best dressed and owner lookalike. And then they could send a video in for best trick. So we awarded prizes that way. So that was kind of fun. And then we did actually get some of our super truck, past super truck participants showed up in the parking lot at various times. So we would go out and do interviews and YouTube videos and Facebook Live with them and talk about their trucks. But it just wasn't the same.
No, there's something to be said for walking around and being able to get a real close-up look at some of these rigs and everything. That's half the fun. And then talking to the actual owners of the rigs. How would you define a super truck? I know that you've got a lot of entries this year. What constitutes a super truck?
Well, a lot of times people say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So not everyone agrees on what a super truck is. But for us, we like to look at trucks that are working trucks. These are drivers who are using their trucks. They're running up and down the road, but they're still amazing. They have over-the-top artwork, or maybe their sleeper is, completely decked out, and lots of chrome and lights. And, this is their home. A driver's truck is their home when they're on the road. So some of these are mansions, if you will, on wheels. Oh, yeah. And those are just really neat. And it's fun to get to know the drivers. We have a lot of people who have been coming here for 20, 30, even 40 years. And just to see their trucks and how they've changed them and improved them. And then we get new drivers that come and show their trucks. So it's a lot of working trucks, but these are not your average working truck. And then we do have some show only trucks that they do only go to shows, but that's usually just a handful. But these trucks are just amazing. And I'll tell you, any driver that can use their truck and work their truck and get it, clean enough to show.
That's amazing.
Drivers do. It's amazing because, just, up and down the road on that road grime and everything and the work that they put in, days and days of polishing before they come to the show. So, we say everybody's a winner who shows up.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine washing down a rig.
Yeah, all the work they have to put into it.
I know what kind of work if you have to hand wash a car is, let alone having to climb up on a rig and do that.
Right, and shine all of the, the stacks and all the other, chrome and stainless that they have on their trucks.
Sure, but that's what makes them look so cool.
Oh, amazing.
So who all votes on in these various contests?
So for the Super Truck Beauty Contest, we actually bring in judges, and we have usually about 20 judges, and they go through and they're assigned various categories and various trucks to look at, and they have score sheets, and they score them based on their cleanliness, based on, a theme that they may have, based on their paint, based on their year of truck. So we have those judges, and they're a mix. They're people that are within the industry. They could be former super truck competitors themselves, DOT officers, because they see a lot of trucks.
Oh, sure.
So it's a big mix like that. And then we also have an award called the Trucker's Choice Award. And that is the drivers who are in the contest all vote for their favorite. So that's really the award that I think means the most to these drivers, because it's their peers, their show peers have voted for them as having what they think is the best truck in the show.
That's pretty cool. So I would assume there are prizes or trophies or...
We have a lot of trophies. Our first place trophies are about 4 feet tall.
Wow.
And yeah, we don't give out cash. We give out lots of trophies. So all the various categories, a lot of them have a first, second, and third place. Various sleeper categories, truck year categories, polish and detail. So there's definitely a lot of gleaming going on with all the trophies that we hand out. And, I know some shows do give out cash, but that's not what our show is about. Our show is about come here, show off your truck, have fun, make friends, and hopefully friends that you will connect with over and over again every Jamboree.
Sure. Well, I think it's so needed because when you think about it, so many of the truck stops and stuff have been closed depending on the states and everything else. Drivers have lost a place to network and visit, and this is a great opportunity to get back together and talk trucks and big rigs and have some bragging rights, that sort of thing.
Well, and that was one of the things, during the pandemic, too, that we fought hard with our governor and to allow us to go back to being able to have drivers sit down in our restaurant and eat. Because, we tried to explain that, yes, you're allowing us to be open and to go food, but, drivers want to get out of their truck. They're in that truck all the time. They want to get out. They want to talk to other people. So we were very fortunate that here in Iowa, we were allowed to open back up fairly quickly, within a few months after the main, part of the pandemic, we could actually open up for some seating for drivers. So that was very helpful.
Absolutely. Because gosh, I mean, you have to be able to get out and stretch. And if the weather's cruddy, you don't want to do it outside, and Iowa can get, kind of bitter in the wintertime in terms of weather.
Just a little bit.
But you guys have a really cool truck stop. Are you the world's largest?
We are the world's largest truck stop. And a lot of people ask us, well, how are you measuring that? And I always say, well, any way you can think of. We have, over 900 truck parking spaces. We have our main building is over 100,000 square feet, and we sit on 100 developed acres. And we also have over 5,000 customers a day. So all the different angles that you can look at for a true truck stop, I think we meet all of those as being the largest.
I'm sorry, did you say 5,000 customers a day?
Mm-hmm.
Per day, yes.
That's amazing.
It really is. Your truck stop would just be really cool to just come and visit. I mean, that's just...
It is. And I'll tell you, it is always bustling. I mean, there are always, people going in and out, people walking around.
Sure.
Our parking lot, we always joke that
we have just a couple seconds here. We'll be back with a little bit more. I'm sorry, Heather, I had to cut you off because we're going to go to break here. We're talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Truckers Jamboree. Stay tuned for more on the Truckers Network radio show here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
This info blog on TNCRadio.LIVE is brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. Mental health resources for truck drivers. Truck drivers are the backbone of America. They're the unsung heroes. Nearly every good consumed in the United States has been transported in a truck. Because of how challenging truck driving is, truck drivers often portray the image of being tough. Mental health is not a discussion that many truckers will have among each other. The truth is, truck drivers are human. They have their emotional and mental struggles, just like every other working American. The only difference is that truck drivers face unique factors that put them more at risk for depression and other serious mental health issues. According to the Transport Workers Union, 1 in 5 truck drivers has experienced mental health issues. Depression and anxiety are the top mental issues that truck drivers face. Mental health resources for truck drivers. With truck drivers spending more time on the road than at home, it can be difficult to get help for their mental health struggles. Now, thanks to modern-day technology, truck drivers can get help right from their smartphones. Esper. Esper is a national behavioral health company with a mission to help people and organizations reach their full potential. Esper offers a continuum of behavioral health care from acute to chronic health conditions to leadership development, including Fit to Pass, a coaching program to assist professional drivers in maintaining good health and pass their DOT recertification physical exams. BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest e-counseling platform. They have access to licensed, trained, experienced, and accredited psychologists, marriage and family therapists, clinical social workers, and board-licensed professional counselors. To get starters, take a quick questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with a therapist that's right for you. Mutts for Trucks. Mutts for Trucks is an organization that helps truck drivers find the perfect four-legged friend for the road. Their mission is to bring more good to a community that brings so much good to us. It's been proven that owning a dog can drastically decrease isolation, depression, and cardiovascular disease. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provides free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. If you feel that you need help for your mental health struggles while on the road, we also recommend reaching out to your carrier and seeing what options they may have available for you. For more information on mental health, go to the blog section at The Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net.
There's no argument about it. You will love the Kvacha controversy. Weekdays at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, only on TNCRadio.LIVE.
This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. I'm sorry, I just keep goofing that one up. Let me say that again, the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. Before we go back to talking about the Jamboree, Heather, you were talking about the Iowa 80 truck stop, and we had to go to break. It's just amazing how large it is. What inspired such a big truck stop?
Well, I don't think that the inspiration was to be the world's largest truck stop. I think it just happened. Mm-hmm. And when we realized it, then we said, well, wait a minute, we're the world's largest, so we've got to make sure that we stay the world's largest. So we've got to keep getting bigger. We opened in 1964, and Bill Moon, who is our founder, he worked for Standard Oil at the time, and that was his job, was to find spots on, emerging areas where Standard Oil could build these little pumper truck stops. So when we opened, we had 2 diesel pumps and a tiny little store and a small little restaurant, and that was it. The entire truck stop could fit inside our main building now and still have extra room.
Wow.
And so over the years, things as technology, I guess, came about, and there were more trucks on the road and they needed more services. We expanded and kept adding things.
Sure.
And that's just how we continue to do things today. As we talk to drivers, we find out, what do you need? What do you like? What do you want? What would make your life easier on the road? And if we can feasibly add it, we do.
That's very cool. So did you ever try to maybe enter something in the Guinness Book of World Records? I don't know if they have a category for the
Well, we actually have reached out to them. The first time that we reached out to them, it seemed like they didn't even know what to do with us because there wasn't a category. So we are actually in the process of trying that again and hoping that there are new judges that maybe would say yes and come out and visit. And that would be great to be able to have that designation from them.
Absolutely. You'll start a trend with Guinness. So when did the Jamboree start? What's the history behind that?
So the Walcott Truckers Jamboree started in 1979. It was, and still is, a customer appreciation event. But the very first Jamboree was really tiny, and we had, I don't even think we cooked pork chops. I think it was like hot dogs or something out in the parking lot. And Bill Moon, our founder, called some of the local truck dealers and said, hey, why don't you bring some new trucks out here and we can put them in the parking lot, and I'll find somebody to play some music, and got some hay bales out and people could sit down and eat something, walk and look at some new trucks. And, that was pretty much it. And then just like everything else, we just kept adding on to the event and trying to come up with new ideas to make it more fun and make it something that drivers could enjoy and kind of be a vacation for them. Mm-hmm. So we approach it as kind of like a trucking family reunion. So you're outside, you want to hang out with your friends, you play some games, you eat some food, you sit and visit, you walk around and look at things. So it's a very relaxed, very fun, very family-oriented event. And it's all free.
That's always awesome. For those who aren't familiar, where exactly is this held?
We hold the Walcott Truckers Jamboree at Iowa 80 Truck Stop, which is Interstate 80 and exit 284 in Walcott, Iowa. We're on the eastern edge near Davenport, Iowa.
Very cool. Are there places where people can camp out if they bring their campers and that sort of thing, or how does that work?
Well, the great thing about having 100 acres is that we do have some green space. So we do have an area that if people want to bring their camper, they can park. I mean, we don't have hookups, so they have to be, self-powered and self-contained, but we do have a nice grass area kind of away from the hustle and bustle of the show that they can park and have their camper there and relax. And if they bring their dog and their kids and whatever, it's not a problem.
So it makes a really nice getaway for the family. That's very cool.
And we do have a lot of families that come, and that's what we like to see. And being at the Jamboree for as many years as I've been there, which is a few decades, it's fun to see adult, drivers now bringing their trucks to show. But I remember when they were little coming and helping their parents shine on their show truck. And it's,
cool.
Now they've grown up, they have their own families, and they're bringing their trucks to show. And that's really cool.
Multi-generations of truckers. That's neat. That's very neat.
And I think probably the most fun for those families, and there's a couple of them that I can think of in particular, is when the son comes with, his truck and he's competing against his dad in the show and wins.
How does that go over if the son wins and the dad doesn't?
Well, and then, the dad usually is like, well, that's because I lost my best polisher. He's over there shining on his own truck. He's not back here helping me like he's supposed to be.
I imagine there's some rivalries that come out.
Oh, there are, but I mean, it's all in fun.
Oh, sure.
And everybody has a great time. And it's fun to see everybody help each other. Drivers, they help each other get ready. There are people that park next to each other and they help each other clean. They, share ideas, help each other, maybe fix a light that needs to be changed before the show. It's just one big fun, truck driving family.
Which is so neat. Now, do you have a parade? I'm not looking at the calendar here, but you've got all kinds of events.
And we don't, because of the nature of how we have to, we're still operating the truck stop through all of this. So in order for us to be able to, I don't know how logistically we would make that happen.
That would take a lot of space.
Everybody's parked and they stay put, and we just say, people come to us.
That works. Absolutely.
It does work, yeah.
So you're going to have live music. Do you know who's going to be playing?
We do. We have everybody booked. So on Thursday, we have Casey Musicman, and he's kind of a country singer, and he was on The Voice a few years ago on Team Blake. So he's going to play on Thursday night, and we're going to have a local band, Danny Lynn Howen Band, open for him. So that'll be good. And then Friday night, Lone Star is performing. So they'll be the main concert. And then we have another local group called North of 40 that is going to play and open for them. And then on Saturday afternoon at 1, we have another local band called Moe's Garage that is going to play. And they play kind of 70s and 80s rock. So that'll be a fun upbeat time there. And then right after they're done, we roll into the Super Truck Beauty Contest Award ceremony and then the Antique Truck Display plaque presentation and wrap up the show.
Now, the Antique Truck Display, is that part of your Antique Truck Museum that you're involved with as well?
It's actually not.
Okay.
It's people coming from all over the United States bringing their antique trucks to show. It's not really a competition for them. It's just a display. Sure. So they can show off their antique truck. Because we used to bring some of our trucks out of the museum when it wasn't really the museum. It was just kind of a storage shed, and put them in the grounds. But now we have 100 trucks in the museum, and we just keep those intact so people can go and enjoy them in the air conditioning if they get too hot.
That always works. Absolutely. We have about a minute. What is considered antique for a truck?
For a truck, anything that's 25 years or older is usually what an antique vehicle is. Mm-hmm. But I would say most of the antiques that show up at the Jamboree are 50 years or older.
That would be so neat to see how they've evolved and what they looked like. And a lot of people have never seen, really old trucks. It's like, wow, really? It's great for the kids too. Great education. We're talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree that's going to be coming up in July. It's going to be just a blast. And we're going to get more information from Heather coming up. Stay tuned on the Truckers Network radio show right here on TNCRadio.LIVE. Eating right and eating healthy are two of the toughest challenges truckers face. Sometimes the only way to eat right is to bring food along for the ride. As a professional truck driver, you know that space is limited in your truck cab. Living on the road with limited storage space means you have to get creative on how you store your personal belongings. Drivers will spend weeks away from home, so their semi-truck becomes their home away from home. Truck drivers are pros at making the road feel like home, and stocking up on food is one of the ways they make it feel more like home. With a number of unhealthy food options on the road, drivers need to pack healthier foods and snacks. Food storage is essential to keep your truck clean and organized. It also helps you easily see what foods you have with you on the road. Keep listening to learn some storage ideas for long-haul truck drivers. An electric cooler. An electric cooler is a great way to store perishable items in your truck. They're lightweight and large enough to store and cool down several drinks and snacks. They're also a great alternative to mini fridges. Canned foods. Canned foods are great for truckers because they require little or no preparation. They're also extremely cheap. You may want to consider buying a food warmer if you prefer a hot meal. When storing cans in your truck, we suggest putting them into a container and placing them under the lower bunk. This limits the cans rolling around in your truck while you're driving. Storage containers. Storage containers will be a trucker's best friend when you're on the road. Drawers and storage containers are great for storing clothes, toiletries, and food. 3-drawer storage containers make it easy to organize and store your favorite foods or drinks. Baskets. Baskets allow you to find the food you need quickly and easily. We recommend using clear baskets so you can easily see what's in the baskets. You'll need to secure the baskets so they don't move around while you're driving. Buy some bungee cords to keep your basket secure in the bunk or cabinets. If you want more information on proper storage and food storage ideas, check out the Truckers Network blog, 5 helpful organization tips for truck drivers. For the latest in traffic, weather, and information, catch the Morning Grind weekdays right here on TNCRadio.LIVE. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. Tom, you said you had a couple questions for Heather.
Yeah, Heather, as I'm sitting here looking at the program of events, and I got to tell you, I'm actually sitting here thinking, yeah, I can do that. I can drive 15 hours up there and back. It just looks like a blast. Tell me about the exhibits. You say there's 175 exhibits. What kind of exhibits do you guys have?
It's everything to do with trucking. So it's something similar that you would see, at Louisville in the truck show. So there's actually, chrome and accessory booths that people visit. There's, different food booths. There might be, new trucks. There's just anything you can think of to do with trucking. That's what's on display in the exhibits.
Fantastic. And the Trucker Olympics? Tell me more about that.
That's something fun to watch. And if there was any doubt in anyone's mind about drivers being competitive, that will be totally taken away because you will see it is cutthroat when they're competing for prizes.
I bet.
So the Trucker Olympics it's kind of like, imagine that you're at your family reunion. So you're playing the fun games that you might play at a family reunion. So you're trying to run through an obstacle course with a cup of water and not spill anything.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you're doing a water balloon toss. Or sometimes we get a little bit crazy and we say, how about you take a steer tire and you roll a semi-steer tire through cones and, fastest time wins without flipping the tire over. And we also usually we do a strong man and a strong woman contest.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an antique cement mixer that weighs about 12,000 pounds, and drivers pull that, and they see how far they can pull the truck.
So wait a minute. Say this again. I must have misheard. They pull the truck?
They pull the truck. So we have a 12,000-pound antique cement mixer that we put out in this area.
Holy cow.
And we mark off different, lengths. So they have to pull at a certain length and a certain amount of time, and then we log all of that to determine who the winner is. So we have a strong man and a strong woman category for that.
How do they do this exactly?
Well, first I hope
gloves, and they have this, strap that's attached to the truck, and they pull it. Sometimes they just pull onto the bumper and they, try to pull it backwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess at least you take the parking brake off, right?
Yeah, I don't even think it had one back then. I'm not sure.
Probably not. Wow, that sounds
That'd
like
be
a
a sight.
blast. Yeah.
It is. And I mean, sometimes it's, they're pulling for all they've got and that truck's not moving at all. So it's quite entertaining. And then we do other fun things, like we may take a steering wheel cover and we have traffic cones and do like a ring toss game where they stand so far away and they have to hit the cone with the steering wheel cover. So it's a lot of fun, and it builds camaraderie with the drivers, and drivers are cheering other drivers on, and
sure,
it's a good time. And they can win some prizes too.
It's old-fashioned fun. I think that's pretty neat.
It is, and drivers really get into it, so we always have a good time.
So I can already tell if I show up, my favorite part of the whole weekend is going to be this pork chop cookout.
Pork chop eating contest?
Well, it's a cookout, but hey, if it's an eating contest, I'm really in.
That is something that we haven't done because we just figured that could be a choking hazard if you're trying to eat pork chops too fast.
Yeah,
seriously.
Although we did a pie eating contest one time, and that was pretty funny.
I bet it got really messy.
It was hilarious.
But tell me about this the pork chop cook-off. Lots of pork chops.
The cookout is okay. So we're in Iowa, so we're like the pork capital of the world.
Sure.
So we have these 1.5-inch thick pork chops that we grill thousands and thousands and thousands of, and drivers get, if they're a customer and they have fueled, they get a ticket for a free meal. So they can get a pork chop dinner, which is this big pork chop, and then they get a baked potato and coleslaw and a roll, and it's really good. So I usually eat a pork chop a couple times a day during the Jamboree.
Oh yeah, I could just see myself just walking around, throw the bone into the can and grab the next one, just keep right on going.
They are great.
So you've done a lot of these. What is your favorite part of the Jamboree?
Well, I'm a little partial to the Super Truck Beauty Contest.
Are you?
I just love seeing the creativity that the drivers put into their trucks. I love to see, the different paint schemes and the murals, and I like to see what they name their trucks because, every show truck seems to have a name,
Oh,
like
sure.
boats. And And the lights at night part of that, because we have a light competition, it's amazing to see what some of these, truckers do to their trucks. They're just so neat.
They really are.
That's my favorite part.
But what I thought I heard you say earlier is that these aren't just, show trucks that guys make to look pretty. They're trucks.
Yeah, the majority of the trucks that are competing are working trucks. So these people are driving their trucks and working, 300 days a year probably.
Yeah, so I give them extra credit. If you're just a show truck guy, if you're actually driving this truck and keeping it up and making it beautiful like this, ooh, that's really cool to me.
It is, and the people are so nice. I love even just taking the time to talk to the drivers that are in the Super Truck Beauty Contest, because, they're here for the 3 days. And so we get a little extra time together versus, a driver that's just coming to the show.
Sure.
And, it's really neat to hear their stories. A lot of people it's not their first career. Maybe they did something else. There were people who I've talked to, maybe they were in the military, or they were in marketing or real estate, or, something else. And they just said, you know what? I think I'm going to give trucking a whirl. And, those are really cool stories to talk to people and find out, how did they get that passion for trucking? And some of them, it's their third generation or their fourth generation drivers. Others, it's just something they embarked on, halfway through their life.
Sure. Second career. Absolutely. Yep. And I've known drivers like that. So, yeah, it's really kind of an interesting mix of people that the trucking community is. And I think it makes it fascinating.
So Iowa, July the 8th through 10th, can be a pretty hot time. People think of Iowa, I think a lot of times they think snow and, the winter storms that they have. But I'm growing up in Missouri and having lived in the Midwest most of my life, Iowa can get toasty down there. Have you guys had some really hot shows some years?
Well, 1996, it was 106 degrees during the Jamboree.
And was it humid too, or?
Oh, yes. 100% humidity, 106 degrees. That was the worst year that I've experienced for heat.
Yeah,
but you know what? We all still had a good time.
Sure. What the heck?
What about if it rains, or do you rain out, or is this, hey, come rain, come shine, short of lightning, we're out there doing it?
Yeah, we're a rain or shine show. So, if it's pouring, we're like, hey, take cover, get in the tent, run to the building. As soon as, the rain will blow through in an hour, we'll come back out, we'll squeegee off the parking lot, and we're going to, crank the show back up again. So we've had to do that a couple times. We've had lightning a couple times. I remember, I think it was 3 years ago, 2018, we had Kentucky Headhunters were on the stage, and they were playing, and it was starting to rain, and they're like, nah, we'll keep going. And all of a sudden, this giant bolt of lightning came down right by our big sign, and I was standing to the side of the stage, and the band all looked at me, and they're like, nope.
No, that one, not with lighting. Yeah.
Get off the stage. We're all going to go inside here for a little bit.
Can't blame them. We're talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. This is going to be a lot of fun this year. Stay tuned for more right here on the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNCRadio.LIVE. Finding the right healthcare plan and insurance agent can be a challenge. Truck driving can be a dangerous job, and drivers expose themselves to unique health risks. Health insurance is an expensive but necessary expense for truck drivers. It helps protect them from unexpected high medical costs. Although truck drivers should have a health plan, many don't. Some trucking companies offer health plans for truck drivers, but if you're an owner-operator or an independent contractor, you might have to find your own health insurance policy. The Truckers Network proudly partners with the Health Plan Partner to help our members learn about the options they have for health insurance. The Health Plan Partner is dedicated to helping members of the Truckers Network find and learn about what's available to them in the marketplace. Since 1985, the Health Plan Partner has helped their clients figure out the health insurance maze we're in. Here are 6 tips from the Health Plan Partner for finding the right health plan and agent for truck drivers. Review your options with an experienced agent that specializes in health plans and can guide you in the right direction, even if it's not a plan they offer. Determine your budget. There are options for any budget, but the adage is true. You get what you pay for, so beware. Have a list of your doctors, medications, and any health history. Some plans do require a health history. Review your current plan annually, if you have one, to see if there are better options and rates available. Plans can change constantly. Have the plans explained to you in detail, and ask a lot of questions and role-play various situations. Quite a few times we only find out what the plan doesn't cover when we need it. Again, find an agent you feel comfortable with. You need to be able to trust them and call for guidance and questions anytime. With over 25 years of experience, Health Plan Partner wants to help truckers find the right health insurance plan. Need a better driving job? Go to TNCRadio.LIVE/driver-info. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. We're chatting with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. Tom, you had an observation you wanted to mention.
Well, I wanted to mention the family that owns the truck stop, and you mentioned them a moment or two ago, Heather. The Moons appear to be just really incredible people. I just about fell out. Now, I grew up in the Midwest, in Missouri, and one of our big football competitors, of course, was always the University of Iowa, and was stunned last month to open up the web one morning and find that the Moons made an incredible transformative gift. Let other people go out and read all about it. It's just been an amazing financial gift back to the University of Iowa that, quite frankly, in my opinion, is going to change Iowa athletics for generations, because it takes them from kind of an also-ran. There's not a ton of money in Iowa for athletics, and they put that, they just tossed it on its head. It was amazing. You know them some. Tell us a little bit about the Moons.
I've worked with them for almost 30 years, and I will say they are the most humble and generous people. They treat everybody like family. They, all of their employees, customers. They're truly, genuinely, love people, love helping. I know they've also donated money to the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. And, we've set up a Go Iowa Fund here at our corporate office, and we gift money to various nonprofit organizations twice a year, and employees get to vote on where that money goes. They're about giving back. They're about reinvesting in Iowa 80 Truck Stop and some of the other truck stops that we own to make them better, to make them places where drivers feel welcome and can have a really nice place to be. And, I can't say enough about the character of the Moon family.
Well, that is awesome.
Yeah, they've certainly, we talk a lot on our station about corporate responsibility, and we see a lot of different companies out there that don't really seem to care a lot about their surroundings and those types of things. Nothing could be further from the truth as far as these guys are concerned, because look, Iowa gets ignored, doesn't it? I just feel like, you talk about New York, you talk about California and Texas, and Iowa's right in the middle of the country, and nobody really pays any attention to it, which is kind of funny, being right in the middle of the country, but...
it's where our corn and bacon comes from.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Iowa, Iowa feeds America, and yet kind of ignored, not really paid much attention to. And here's a couple that embrace their surroundings, and it's inspiring to Shelley and I as business owners and others, to reach out and look around and do those things to as you get successful to help the community you're already in.
Definitely. And that's something that they do, and they do with their whole heart.
It's so important, and it's really awesome. And I think that this Jamboree is, especially this year, I think it's just what the doctor ordered. I can't imagine. I bet there are going to be a lot of people there this year saying, yeah, let's do this.
Are you at all concerned that you're going to get too many people showing? Because there hasn't been. I mean, I think, as people are listening, if they're like me, it's like, oh, man, I really want to go. Is it possible that too many people showed? You have to do a cutoff at some point?
We've got 100 acres. We'll make room.
Okay. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
And what about hotels and stuff in the area? Are they already starting to book up? Do people need to?
Yes, they are starting to book up.
Okay.
And we have on our website, we have a list, and in the travel section of a lot of different hotels that are within, 10 to 15 miles from us, and a lot of them have shuttles too that will run through here to the truck stop. So.
That's good to know.
But now, yes, if you're contemplating coming and you need a hotel room, you might want to try to book it now.
Do it sooner than later, absolutely. Now, can drivers still enter your contests, or is that already closed?
They can enter the contest up until Thursday morning at 9:30.
Wow.
Jamboree.
Okay.
Yep. Because we understand. I mean, sometimes you just don't know. You don't know if your route's going to work out. You don't know if you're going to be able to make it. So we're not going to turn anybody away if we can.
That's really cool. So Thursday of right before the event. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So all they have to do is basically clean up their rig and show up then.
And show up, and we'll find a spot for them.
That's awesome.
So you've had 5,000 people a day going through. How many people do you expect to show up for the Jamboree overall?
Well, in 2019, we had over 42,000 people.
Wow.
I bet you're going to break 50 this time.
So
I think people are so anxious.
Somewhere between 40 and 50.
Yeah. People are anxious to see each other again and to do things. And, it's... we've all been in
cooped up, cabin fever,
and this is the first one that's really going to be out there and going. I'm really excited for you guys. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
And it's an outdoor event, so people feel a lot more comfortable with that. And
agreed, we're outside, we're in the fresh air. We're looking forward to it.
So what is the most, in terms of the activities you have there, and of course your beauty contest for the semis and the super trucks, was there a particular semi you liked the best over the years, or what?
Oh my gosh, that's like asking me to pick my favorite child. I can't do that. There's too many.
But,
I bet there have been some that are really unique, because I know some of those rigs have some awesome kitchens, and it's just amazing. I mean, they're houses, really, really nice ones going down the road.
Yes, we've seen, hardwood floors, fireplaces.
Wow.
Full bathrooms. There's all kinds of amazing things inside some of the sleepers.
That is.
Wow.
How do they do a fireplace?
Well, it's electric.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I kind of thought it would be that.
12 volt again.
But still, it's got to look great.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess these guys just love people coming in and talking to about how they put it together and all that kind of stuff. I imagine that's a lot of fun for the drivers or the people who really can appreciate this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen but maybe one or two really good show trucks, and so that the opportunity to see this many all at once, that would be a blast.
It really would. And it's always fun to talk to the drivers.
Oh, it is. And I mean, they're so proud of their trucks, and rightfully so. I mean, they've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and buckets of money, I'm sure, into these trucks, and you have to respect that. And I'm always like, what would you do different? It might be the same person with the same truck, but I'm like, there's always something that they've added, from year to year. Maybe they've switched out and put different lights on it, or they've added a little more chrome to it, or they've tweaked some of the paint somehow. So it's always fun to talk to everybody and ask them, okay, so what's new?
That's awesome. So we have a little bit over a minute here, Heather. Where, again, is the Walcott Truckers Jamboree? I know it's in July, but if you wanted to give everybody directions and where they can get tickets and how do they go about going to the event?
Well, the great thing about the Walcott Truckers Jamboree is it's free. There are no tickets required. Just show up July 8th, 9th, and 10th at Iowa 80 Truck Stop, Interstate 80, exit 284 in Walcott, Iowa, and just
join the meeting.
It's going to be a blast. Again, the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. And where is it again, Heather? I'm sorry.
Iowa 80 Truck Stop in Walcott, Iowa, Interstate 80 and exit 284. Free admission and free parking, rain or shine. We're going to have a party.
Woohoo! Well, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so very much, Heather. We've been talking with Heather Debaillie of Iowa 80 Group, and this is going to be one heck of a nice show, and I think it's just what the doctor ordered in 2021. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. Stay tuned for more coming up.
TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Hi, this is Tom Kelly, managing partner of IMSICO LLC, doing business as TNCRadio.LIVE. The website TNCRadio.LIVE and any content or podcast related to the website are copyrights of IMSICO LLC, copyright 2021. All rights reserved. Any redistribution or reproduction of all or any part of the contents in any form is prohibited other than the following. We welcome you to download and play the publicly available podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge TNCRadio.LIVE as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. And while we endeavor to keep the information up to date and correct, we make no representations or warranties of any kind expressed or implied about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website, the podcast, or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the website or podcast for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. For additional information, including details regarding monetization of this podcast, send email to podcasts@tncradio.live.